we'll see.
Yeah. Here we go. Who wants to talk Phoenix Christian football? Let's go. I'm here with Coach Amaechi and Coach Perkins. What up, fellas? Let's go. Let's kick this off with you guys. Let's talk about your early just playing days. You know, Terry, I know that you went to Basha, but West Side, East Side, how did that all come about?
Well, actually, if you guys know, good old Jason Kindred, 1 and 2 coached me my junior year over at Millennium.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so they actually had a coach off. You know, he applied for a job, he didn't get it. He felt the need, and we discussed it upon our family that we're going to go try Basha on Chandler. Bigger school, 5A. So we just wanted to see, you know, if we can go out there and compete and get some colleges in. So that's how Basha came about, is that 1, he didn't get the coaching job, and 2, we wanted to see if I can play with the bigger program.
And then, so talk a little bit about the early Jet days.
Oh, man. The Far West Jets, the infamous Jets, they actually started in 2001. It was Jason and a couple of his buddies. They threw Pop Warner team together, and you talk about the little giants, literally the little giants. You know, a couple buddies who were in their early 20s, late 20s, trying to build a football dynasty. That word dynasty actually kicked off. You know, 3 national championships.
Right.
Since 2001.
I know that when I hear him talk about that story, it was a little bit like, I'm watching these coaches and I know I could do it better, so let's just jump in. And, you know, he had a little bit of history there. And
yeah, we actually I played for the West Gothos. West Gothos. We didn't win a game, and I think, like you said, it was painful to the eyes for Jason to watch. I think that's what gave him, you know, the bright idea to give it a shot.
Coach Amaechi, let's talk about your early days. I know that you didn't play for the Jets mostly because it was weighted division, and, you know, like, you got to make the weight, and you didn't want to cut 45 pounds, and otherwise you'd have to play with kids 5 years older than you. But talk about your early days of through high school, and how'd you wind up at Georgia?
Yeah, so I started football in 2000. I started flag with Coach Rick Salgado in the Far West Kids Force, and I stayed with them the next year, 2001, and that was my first year at tackle. Obviously, that was the first year with the Jets. We it was I guess they were our sister team, so that we played against them during the season. That was our only loss, but we got ran through, and that's when I knew that the Jets were top notch. After that, I moved from the Kids Force to the Rhinos, Far West Rhinos under Coach Lou Guerra. Stayed with them all the way up until 8th grade. Went to high school at Westview High School all 4 years. Started off as a running back. I thought I was going to be the next Reggie Bush. I started growing too tall, too fast. Coach moved me to DN. I said, DN's for fat people. I don't do that. And my dad showed me a film of, you know, guys like, you know, Richard Seymour, Terrell Suggs, Reggie White. And I was like, hold on. I mean, they're not fat, so I mean they can get the job done and be little. So I can do the same thing.
Yeah.
I went from, you know, not knowing anything about the defensive end position to being all state my junior and senior year. Obviously overlooked because it's a West Valley school. People don't go to the West Valley. I spent my first year at North Dakota State. Had some problems there, off the field issues. Come back home. I do a 1 year at Phoenix College, right next to PC, and they're both PC. I ended up being an All-American there, but I can't leave yet until I get my associate's degree. But I needed a challenge because we went 0-9 there. I mean, I did my thing, but I mean, it's a team sport at the same time. Then I transferred to Arizona Western, which was the best school in the state, really the best school in the West Coast. Ended up getting All-American honors there. And this I was telling Blake downstairs in the green room. Shout out the green room. my first offer really came. My first big offer came from USC, and
Nice. USC offer.
USC offered. They're like the first big school, and I was planning on going there. And my position coach was like, "Yeah, USC, they're all big on you. They want to take you." I said, "I'm down to go if you want to ride with me." A week later, I get a call from the same coach. He was like, "Hey, they're letting all the coaches go, so I don't know where I'm gonna go." I said, "All right, coach, wherever you go, I'm gonna go with you." Then a couple of days later, he calls me back and said, "Hey, I got picked up by Georgia. I'm gonna send your film to them. I'm gonna see what they want." I was like, "Cool." A couple hours later, he got me back. He said, "Yeah, I'm still on the table for you. They want you." I said, I was like, all you gotta do is convince my parents. Because at that point, my dad wasn't talking to me because I got in trouble at school. So he didn't believe anything I said. I was like, as long as you can convince my parents that this is a real offer, I'm committed. They get my parents on a plane, take me to Georgia. They finally see fall in a real state where the leaves actually turn brown and orange and yellow. Fall in love with it. We commit the next day. And, the rest is history.
Rest is history. I want to ask you guys, heck yeah. I've seen this trend, if you think about it. You guys are just when did you graduate? When did you stop playing football? I know that you were at Fort Collins, Terry.
Fort Lewis.
Yeah, Fort Lewis.
Up in Colorado.
Yeah.
2015.
Okay, and then for you?
2017, 2018.
Okay, so here's my point. You guys have seen the process of what football does for you. You've had little periods of life when, you're dealing with adversity. Then compare that to what these kids are going through right now. Think about they did 2 years of COVID, right? And it seems like there's this trend, if you disagree, let me know, that kids just kind of don't want to play. And so I personally feel like it's such a huge need that they understand the process of dealing with adversity and dealing with struggle and dealing with, all of the things. And then not to mention the physical attributes of it. So talk a little bit about what are your thoughts on how football's played a role in your life in becoming the men that you are?
We really didn't have a choice. Our parents said, you need to pick an outside extra activity, a hobby, and run with it. And for obviously us too, it was football,
Right.
I feel like the kids these days, they're more inside kids. They
Right.
didn't have to pick a hobby. What I'm saying? They did their two years of COVID indoors. So I feel like they got accustomed to the indoor life of video games, iPads, just taking it slow, to where us growing up, there wasn't that iPads.
And it's like their norm.
Games.
It's like their norm right now.
Oh, it's
Like that's their, they don't really know anything else.
It's a norm. Yeah, there was no outside. There was no we're going to football practice. All that was shut down, like you said, the past couple of years.
It takes a few years to kind of look back and say, "Wow, I really needed that."
Right.
Would you agree that this generation needs football more than ever?
Yes, they do. They're lacking the discipline. They're lacking the commitment of getting into something and sticking to it.
Structure, for sure.
Structure.
Yeah. I've been using this word brotherhood. You don't really realize that you have to go to war. You really have to go through those physical trying times with the man on your right and the man on your left to develop that deep and lasting relationship that you don't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I try to instill that in the kids that I coach right now, the kids I coach in the past, and then any kid that that wants to be organized in some type of team sport. Most of the people that I hang out with now, most people that are in my friend group, all of them, honestly, I went to war with. I played football with. These are kids that I trust. These aren't kids I sat in chemistry with. Obviously school is important, but at the same time, I know that my teammate is gonna have my back more than the person that sat next to me in Chem 101.
Right.
So it's building that teammate, that brotherhood, that camaraderie that you can't get anywhere else. And that's what any type of sport gives you that, nothing else does.
Right. So how excited are you guys to get going with this group of kids we have? I think these guys are special, man. I think that these kids are talented, they're athletic, and they're thirsty. That's why I'm so thankful for the both of you guys. Energy off the chart. I graduated in 1991. You guys finished football in 2015, 17. So we're not naive to think that. Talk about what you're seeing right now with these guys.
This isn't by accident. I think this is a true testament from God himself, from us being in a Christian school, for one. that gave us pressure, which is a good pressure of going into his sanctuary and getting these brand new group of kids who lack what we just got done talking about. And you guys they have coaches like us who grew up on that. It's very important for us. So it's challenging, but like you said, it's so fun. We've been in there a couple months now, and we see these kids starting to fight for their guys on their left and right.
Yeah.
We see these guys holding each other accountable. It's going to be something very special, very special.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that you could see it in their eyes. Like,
Oh, yeah.
this isn't normal football.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be even some of the kids that I've talked to that maybe haven't even like, wow, this is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
And which is a statement that kind of takes me back, just because I think fun wouldn't be really the word that I think of when I'm thinking about what we're going to be getting into. But it's been a joy to watch them already buy in, and we haven't even begun to get into what we're good at. Like literally, individually, who are some of the kids that kind of you're excited about?
As much as I don't want to say it, he might hear it. It's that the D and Achilles Lopez, and I don't want to gas him up, but he has a tremendous upside right now, and he has, and a lot of them have it, but he has this untapped potential that he doesn't know he has. And one thing would be, just because of COVID, he obviously hasn't been around a lot of organized sports. He probably there's a lot of people that push him, but they get to that point that, oh, I can't push him anymore,
right?
Because I don't want him to burst, or I don't want him to snap at me.
Yeah.
And I feel like we as a coaching staff can tap that potential, because we have that patience. And
you can't teach that. You can't teach the motor he has.
Yeah, you can't teach.
And to play the game at that level, you got to play kind of angry.
Yeah.
What I'm excited about too is just thinking about what you can teach them. Hey, I can let the monster grow, but I can keep him in a cage, and it comes out only when I want it to come out.
Yeah.
How about you, Terry? What do you think about the secondary right now?
Man, I'm really excited. We do have an outstanding DB, which he's a senior.
Dom,
good Dom. He's definitely our strongest defensive back. That's another kid that is very coachable, wants to be the best he can be, and it's showing. Besides him, I will say we have a very, very young group. Matter of fact, our top 4 corners, top 4 DBs are incoming sophomores.
Right.
Okay.
And that's really dangerous. So now I get 3 years to teach you all the knowledge that all of us coaches have.
Right.
And we're gonna mold you and shape you.
Yeah.
Oh, in 3 years we'll be on some state teams for sure.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about last time was that we don't know them. They don't know us.
Correct.
We're really just developing relationships. There's no real need for them to want to listen to us. Right. And so the process this year has been very slow intentionally. Oh, yeah. It's more of, hey, how you doing? What's going on in your life? What do what are the things that are important to you? What are your other hobbies? What are how are your grades?
Just building that rapport.
But imagine,
trust,
but imagine where we'll be this time next year, starting at the beginning when that's already developed. Because I know all of you guys well enough where we genuinely do want to get to know them, and so
it makes a difference.
I know that the wins and losses are going to come. The wins specifically are going to come, but really kind of getting them excited about football season. Like this time next year, it's literally going to be night and day. Mm-hmm. So you got those, those freshmen and those sophomores.
Yeah, I think it's key with those guys is, like I said, building that rapport, building that trust. We got 3 years with them guys, showing up every day to practice, being responsible, being a leader. It's going to allow those guys to say, you know what? I can trust him.
Yeah.
Rather than don't show up to practice or, shoot, heck, me and him even hop into drills with the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just,
yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Right.
I'm not going to do something I wouldn't tell you to do.
Right. I'll never have you do something that I've never done, because that's punishment. That's not, that's not that's not football.
Right.
Give them reinforcement is I'll never have them do something I've never done. Obviously, I wasn't the worst kid. I wasn't the worst player, but I wasn't the best. So I've gone through the fires of showing up late, talking back to coaches, and then the repercussions of what happens. So I've been through the rolling, I've been through the backwards bear crawling, I've been through the plate pushing.
Backwards bear
Backwards bear crawling. So when I have the kids do something, they probably never had as bad as I have, because I got stories that I could tell where you would think I was in a boot camp. I've had 120 pounds of weights put on me, walking in a treadmill at the highest incline for an hour, just because I missed a workout. I give them the amplified version of what I do. So I'll never have them do anything worse than I did, because obviously we are at a higher level,
right?
So I want to introduce them into it.
So let me ask you this then. You guys played high-level football, both of you. What are your thoughts both with Phoenix Christian 2A football? And, they've spent money on camps and cleats and workouts and nutrition, and football really matter. Both of you have children that are under the age of 5. So talk about your boys, and did you send them to Phoenix Christian? If so, why?
I mean, without a doubt. Because to be honest, at a 2A school, 3A school, really 4 or 5A schools, you're not getting the type of coaching that you're getting here. There's not every school has players that actually played at a high level the way they do. When I was playing, all my coaches maybe got to high school. Some of them play, Division II, Division III. But you've got kids that you got coaches that play at the highest level. You got the head coaches that play at the high level. We've got firefighters that not just played at a high level of football, but obviously been held under tension when going through skills courses. So they understand time under tension and where our focus needs to be. You got younger coaches that played. Sure. Maybe we're not as young as the kids are now, but we can relate to them. Like Coach Perkins said, we can strap on our cleats every day, and we'll run through the drills, and we'll show them this is. Hey,
those days are gonna end though. When you don't see Coach Kindred and Coach Rector. We ain't putting no. I
got like 2-3 years left in me, so that's why I'm trying to get it now. So we'll show them, hey, this is the way you're doing it. This is the way you should do it, and why. We're not just telling them to do it this way. We show them why you're supposed to do it. We want them to ask questions, not just do it just because someone told you. Because I want to give you a reason why you're doing it, so that you're not just out here doing something that you don't want to do.
Right.
Give you a rhyme or reason. But as far as the type of coaching that you're getting, and the atmosphere you're getting at Phoenix Christian, I would without a doubt send my kid there. Especially the level that you're getting. You're getting top tier level coaching at a small school like a 2A school like Phoenix Christian, without a doubt.
You can look at a resume. You can look at a track record and let that speak volume. You can even personally go deeper than that and ask the community. Ask certain people, different coaches, different players who've played for this coach, and ask them, what do you think about Coach Kindred? What do you think about the way he runs his program? There isn't a bad thing out there.
Right.
So I feel like if you can ask somebody, if you can ask community or fellow players or coaches or whatnot, and say, give me your honest opinion, what do you think? I don't think there'll be two bad eyes of, this and that. I think everybody's on the same page of, that's a great guy and that's a great coach,
Right.
It goes further than coaching, as far as mentorship or.
In general, when you're trying to put a coaching staff, you're kind of interviewing candidates.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them, you're just kind of, maybe you know them or maybe you coached against them. But this group of guys, we've been together for
years.
For years. It's not a, hey, let's throw this together and, see where we land.
There's actually a couple of coaches that are on our staff that I've been with for over 20 years. Then it goes knowing guys for 15 years to 10 to even the youngest coaches they've played with Jason. So I've seen them grow up.
There's this respect for each other that, hey, I disagree with you or let's do it this way. I don't think any of us have this need to be right or this need. We just all want the same thing. There's not going to be this real tension between coaches, which I think is so valuable when we talk about, hey, love your brother, and we're teaching these young men the value of relationships. We have to exemplify that on our, ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're all working for the same goal, and like Coach Perk said, at some point we've all coached together under Coach Kindred at some point in time. Like me and Coach Perkins coached together 17 and 18 together. I was with Coach Kindred 16, 17, 18. He was there 17, 18, 19. Obviously, he started playing football at Maryville with Coach Rector, and at some point we've all intertwined. So yeah, like Coach Perkins says, it's just a straight family. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be bickering back and forth, but we'll never let it leave the field.
Right.
You know, we're gonna get it. We're gonna nip it in the bud.
The relationships that we have are way deeper than that.
Oh yeah.
For the purposes of this podcast, every episode, I really want to spend some time talking about past, present, and future. So the past, I'm going to get into here in a second, but the present's kind of like talking about the current players and the upcoming season. I think we did a good job doing that. Future, I really want to dive into kind of what we just talked about. You know, when we're saying, hey, we want look at the past players, really is the best way to describe to a parent that might want, hey, do I want my kid to turn out like Coach Chuks? I want to launch into the past. I was looking at the 2001 state championship game. To me, the most cherished thing that anybody could send me is video. Yeah. I want to see the players when they were at that age. I want to see them, what the uniforms look like. I want to see the coaches. So this is really the first time I saw Coach Brown. And so, when we, have a little clip and get an insight into his huddle and get an insight into I think this is the last game he ever coached at Phoenix Christian. It's the 2001 state championship. All right. So this is him introducing both Brandon Isaac and Russ Richardson. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Brandon Isaac here in a second, but I want you to see this introduction.
That game stopped in the third quarter. Keith Brown, the head coach of Phoenix Christian, he has had a tremendous career at PC. He came here in 1992, and he's already won 2 state championships.
He's awesome, and when you look at Keith, you look at his size, he gets his guys in the weight room, gets them strong, does the little things, gets them prepared. They're very disciplined, and they do a great job for Coach.
He's got some tremendous football players on both sides of the ball. How about Brandon Isaac? You'll see him go both ways today. He's a very powerful running back and an outstanding linebacker.
I'll tell you what, makes plays, is very explosive to the football. And when you're someone that could squat 610 pounds, has over 400 career tackles, impressive defensive player.
There's no question about it. Isaac, again, he'll run out of the fullback position as well. And last week against St. John's, had some tremendous runs, gained 70 yards against a very tough St. John's defense. Russ Richardson, another one who we'll keep our eye on today for the Phoenix Christian Ball Club. He has had an outstanding season so far.
I tell you, when he gets his hands on the ball, he makes a lot of things happen. And on defensive side of the football, he just gets in there, penetrates very well, uses his hands very well, sheds the blockers, does a nice job on defense, has a lot of sacks, and has a nose for the football.
He had in one game this year over 17 tackles in one game against Canyon State. And again, as good as this team is defensively, Phoenix Christian, they only give up about 5.5 points a game. They score over 30 points a game offensively. On the other side,
a few thoughts here. First of all, let's talk about those neck rolls, man. Like, do we have any players that would be just to me, like, could you imagine putting Achilles in that?
Yeah, Achilles is neck roll worthy, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I can see him in a neck roll for sure.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that kid remind me of. I'm like,
who were the other
we
ones?
have one of those.
Yeah, there was like Brian Bosworth and like who are the other guys that you guys remember? Christian Okoye.
Christian Okoye, yeah. Nigerian Nightmare was one of them. You know what? Terry Crews was in a neck roll, I think, when he was playing for the Raiders.
Here's a quick story about Brandon Isaac. Sean Kohner, who's coach at Northwest Christian, I was kind of chatting with him, and he said he ran into Brandon Isaac, and I just, the name kind of stuck, and then I got sent this video, and I was like, oh, that's Brandon Isaac. I go, that's okay, that's cool. I take a little video on my phone, on my screen while I'm watching it, it's kind of prepping for the show, and I sent it to Coach, and I said, hey, Jason, check this out. So he's at track practice, and he's looking at the video, and he reaches to this guy, and he goes, hey, man, do you know Brandon Isaac? And he goes, yeah, I know him well. He goes, really? He goes, how well? He goes, well, I know him really well. It's me.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So it was like, so to connect him, reconnect him with the school and catch that would be, just.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So, and then obviously Russ Richardson, he played at Indiana.
Okay. Russ Richardson sounded familiar.
Yeah.
I think me and Coach Kindred and Coach Nacho saw him at the basketball Final Four. I think it was the state semis.
Okay.
Coliseum. The name sounded so familiar, and then when you said Indiana, it was him for sure.
Keith Brown. He was there from 92 to 01. This was the last game. And I really want to just capture who he was. This is Keith Brown, kind of introduction. This was my first kind of glimpse into the man. I don't know if you know, but he went to Penn State.
To talk with us about just that a little bit earlier this afternoon.
The incredible thing is 2 teams are playing that have won 4 of the last 5 state championships. I mean, we've won 2 of the last 5, and they've won 2. So, I mean, we've got, you know, a lot of tradition and a lot of great football players going to be on the same field.
Keith Brown, his team back within 2. Line drive kick.
They score, and the score was 12-14. They go for 2. He gets a little huddle, and I want to show you this clip of when they go for 2.
Phoenix Christian will go for 2 and try and tie it.
Very nice job. One-time play.
Let's listen to Keith Brown.
Both guys are up there, and you got to go to the strong side to where game's going. Everybody come off. Okay, come off the ball, but it's so it's beef right up. Okay, and it's 30 dive. I mean, but you guys. Let's go. Here we go. Let's go.
30 dive. What are your initial thoughts on? He seems like a guy you could see why everybody loves him.
Because he's you know, the kids, it's a state championship. These kids are hyped up because they've never been there before. You can tell he's just sitting there. He's calm. You know, no hand movement. Just he's talking. He's taller than the kids. Looks like, but he's talking down to their level. He's telling everybody to calm down. It's okay. Take a deep breath. We're gonna take this play by play. If we don't get it, we're gonna be all right. You know, we still got time left. So he's a player's coach for sure. It looks like.
Yeah, that was my initial thought as well. You know, like you said, how big he is. You know, he could be intimidating and whatnot, but he definitely knows his players.
It seems like a guy that everybody would be willing to play for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Run through a wall for him. It looks like they'll run through a wall for him. Without a doubt.
Yeah. He played for Coach Paterno, which is cool to kind of dive into that. I didn't get into a lot of it. I saw an article when Paterno was here for the Fiesta Bowl, and he was able to reconnect those number of years. So that would be pretty cool to dive into his history. We'll get into that at some point. You know, my mind just going over and over. What are we going to cover here? But I want to show you in that same state game one of the best runs that I in high school football that I've seen in a really long time. Let me show you this. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was against Phoenix Christian, but.
See what Thatcher can do here as Mark Palmer calls signals. They send Johnson in motion. They pitch the ball back to Romney. Romney on a sweep, hitting the lead blocker. Michael Romney's loose in the secondary. Romney going wide. He's inside the 30. He's inside the 20. Michael Romney will score. Touchdown Thatcher.
Yeah, so
What a
PC's
run
down
by
19 to
Romney.
28. Then they come back and they score. And it's 28-26. And look at how much video I have left. I watched this thing for 2 hours, and it leaves me hanging with 4 minutes left in the game. So I can only assume that Phoenix Christian loses this game because it's not one of their state championship games that they have on record. When I originally went through all the yearbooks, I was just looking for records and who were the coaches because I didn't know who the coaches were. So then I had a little bit of time, and you know, on the counter right there next to you, I have one of those yearbooks. I was leafing through them, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna take a little bit of time. Maybe I could find when the snack bar was built, or when they put the lights up, or you know, any of that kind of stuff. And so I found a homecoming king and queen, and the king happened to be a football player.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I look down at the name, and it's Gail and Lisa. And Gail's an odd name. You know, it's a rare name for a guy, right? So Gail and Lisa are my lifetime next door neighbors. And one of the men that I hold in the highest regards, taught me how to weld, helped us with so many things. And I look at the picture, I didn't recognize him, but Lisa, it was definitely her. And my mind just blew. 1972, they got married right after high school. He built the house that they currently live in. This year, they're going to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary, and it's their 50th high school reunion.
Jeez.
And so a huge shout out to Gail and Lisa Rorick.
That's
Big ups, Gail and Lisa.
They also played for one of the biggest holes in my mind, Walter Bemis. I don't know anything about him. So same thing, I kind of got a feel for Keith Brown. You know, it's like I feel like we have to know the history to honor that as we move forward.
Oh, yeah.
To see that connection, and I've lived with him next door. My parents still live there. He's still there 50 years. Every time I turn around, there's this deep-rooted connection to Phoenix Christian. Final thoughts?
There's so much that I want to say, but I want to hold it in at least until game one, because it's like everything's bottled up just because I just, there's so much I want to say, so much I want to do, but you can talk as much as you want to talk, practice as much as you want to practice, but until you strap it up and play against somebody else with a different color, a different logo, different team, different city, there's not much you can really say. So, I mean,
Yep.
to wrap it up, I'm just excited.
So here's our schedule right now. We're going to go to camp. To me, camp is huge. I don't believe they went to camp the last couple of years. And for us, it becomes ground zero because we've got a little bit of relationship with these guys. They know who we are. They know what we're about. But this is where we really get to sink our claws into them and show them all of our experience, help them through this path, walk this journey side by side, share with them our faith. I'm just so excited to spend really just 2 days, and really it should be a 3-day camp, but we get to spend 2 days with them. And then I think when we get back, and so I was really excited when Coach Kindred said, how many of you guys are going? And everybody's going to go. And so we should wind up with, hoping around 40 or 50 kids in the program. Lots of great freshmen that we're excited about. These podcasts are a little bit rough right now, but they'll get better. Super excited to have you guys. Coach Amaechi, Coach Perkins.
It's a pleasure.
Go Cougars. That's a wrap.
Go Cougars, baby.